Welcome to episode 7 of the WOWS podcast.
Featuring
Jimbo.
And Fisher.
And it's our 7th episode.
It is indeed. 7, a great number. We think of 7 dwarfs.
Yeah, of course, 7 dwarves. And the 7 wonders of the world.
7 wonders of the world. 7 samurais. Magnificent 7.
Yeah.
7 brides for 7 brothers. Do you think that was just one woman and she was a real slag?
Possibly.
Who knows? But 7 wonders of the world, a great ancient phenomenon of the ancient world. We've got a list of the 7 wonders of the world here, haven't we?
Yeah.
The Great Pyramids of Giza. I'm not sure if that was a Cockney one. Cockney Giza, eh? Great Pyramids of Giza.
There was the Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
Yep. There was Wayne Rooney's hair.
Yeah. Of course, we had Anthony McPartland's forehead as well.
Yeah, absolutely. One great wonder of the world was Piers Morgan's fame.
And then, obviously, O.J. Simpson's acquittal.
Yeah,
that was a wonder.
Yes, and there was the ancient monument of Bruce Forsyth.
No, that is Bruce Forsyth.
Is it?
The monument's died.
Oh. Well, yes, I suppose that does make a lot of sense,
Yeah,
doesn't
he's
it?
millions of years old is Bruce Forsyth, so technically he's a wonder of the world.
Yeah, I think the monument was built to celebrate his 1000th birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Speaking of celebrations, I recently got engaged. A bit of personal news here on the WOWS podcast. And just the other day, I had an engagement party and I invited my family, my close friends, and Fisher came down as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was wonderful. I rang you up as soon as possible to congratulate on your engagement. Unfortunately, you couldn't answer the phone because you were talking to someone else.
Well, that's because I was having an engagement party, obviously, and that's where I invited all my friends and family, and we all just stood and called each other.
Oh, right, okay.
I think that's what you're supposed to do anyway.
Yeah.
Well, thank you ever so much for your gift.
Well, you're welcome. It was a pleasure to buy them for you.
He got me a set of kitchen knives.
Yep. And proper good kitchen knives. Well, it wasn't just sort of as part of a cutlery pack.
Because we needed them, because my now fiancé, of course, always whinges about the kitchen knives that we've currently got, saying that they're not very good and they're not very sharp and everything. So thanks to you, next time she moans, I can stab her.
Well, that's pretty much what they're intended for. I think that with a lifetime guarantee on the blades, they will probably last longer than your fingers do.
That's brilliant, yeah, thank you.
And I'd like them
but
to be...
the gift definitely cut it anyway.
Well, I was on a knife edge as to whether or not you'd like them. But hopefully you will name the gifts after me and refer to them as the fish knives. Right, well, Jimbo, I believe you've had some more news, haven't you?
Yes, I have, yeah. I'm now an uncle for the second time, as my brother, who is a listener of the WOWS podcast, one of our 15 listeners, he's had a second child. Yeah, a daughter. And they've called it Sky, but if they don't like it, they're going to change its name to BT Vision later on down the line, I think. Yeah,
after 6 months.
Yeah.
When the initial package runs out.
That's right.
So it's great news, so congratulations, Jono, and I hope you're enjoying the first What's Been Happening in Jimbo's Life podcast, and this instead of the WOWS podcast episode 7. But another baby that's been born recently has been the royal baby.
Yeah, of course, yeah. The royal baby as well, it's named, isn't it, after King George.
Yeah, that's correct. Named after King George, so this is called Prince George, I believe.
Yeah.
And they were at the hospital, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And Prince Charles and Camilla came down the aisle to see the baby, and everyone shouted, "It's a boy! It's a boy!" And then they realised they were just actually talking to Camilla, and it turned out that the actual baby was a boy as well.
Yeah, we were going to actually ring the hotel, the hospital, weren't we? And say, and pretend to be the Queen and try and find out some more information, but apparently it's already been done. Yeah,
it has been done with disastrous consequences. But it was great to see that the royal baby was born, and in particular, it was a royal male as well. And unsurprisingly, though, the royal male turned up about 4 days late.
Yeah, shocking.
I think it was because the baby was too heavy, so as a result, William and Kate had to go to the local post office.
Pay an extra couple of pounds.
Yes, and then they could get the baby released.
No, but the family's really happy about it, aren't they? In fact, William was the first one to change his nappy, and then he changed the baby's nappy afterwards as well.
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion in the press about this nappy changing and what nappies are going to use, aren't they?
I know, it's ridiculous. I mean, I heard a news story saying that he'd been the first to change the nappy, William, and then it moved on from, but what nappies are they? I just thought, how pointless. They're just trying to make a story out of anything, aren't they, to do with the royal baby?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very privileged baby. It's going to be pampered.
Of course it is.
But I suppose one slight issue in terms of the baby was that the first thing that happened when the baby actually came out of the womb and sort of came into the world, he instantly said, "I really need to go to the toilet." At which point Prince William said to him, "Hard lines, you're third in line to the throne."
Well, there's been a lot of things, hasn't there, about that, because the law's only recently changed so that, because if it's a boy, it's naturally going to be king. But before, if it would have been a girl and then the boy would have been their next child, the boy would have been king. But as it happens now, if it was a girl that had been born, then she would have been king because of all the equality laws and everything.
Yeah, bonkers, but that's actually the case.
Yeah.
So equality now means that a female
can be king.
Female monarch would be the king.
Yeah.
But we don't set the rules. But there are a few rejected names for the baby once it settled on George. Predominantly, the name James was rejected, as was the name Hewitt.
Enough. I'm not sure why.
I can't imagine why. But Prince Charles actually said he was as pleased as Punch with the baby.
Did he say that?
I think that's what he said. Either that or he said he was pleased and then punched the baby. I'm not too sure.
Oh, well, I mean, Prince Harry seemed very happy about the whole thing as well. He said that he just wants George to have fun growing up. So apparently he's taking him to a party tomorrow night in Nazi Baby Grow. Okay, now we wanted to do something slightly different with this episode, as we always do. With what have we done before? We've done zone advertisements before.
Well, that was for a financial purpose, the advertisements. We did the grunting competition last time.
Yeah, we've done all sorts of little things, haven't we? This time, we want to help you out.
Yeah, we have got certain agony aunt letters that have come into us, because we are very helpful. We give some sound advice out. So various people have been in touch with us, and we are going to try and answer their questions as good as possible. So the first one has been written into us. It says, "I wonder if you could help. I have a large spot on my forehead." Well, my advice would be to remove spot the dog from your forehead, then.
Yeah, that is good advice, that, Fisher, yeah. The second advice is from, it's for Zoe, who's got in touch with us, and she says, "Does my boyfriend love me? I'm really concerned that Jeff just doesn't love me anymore." And look, Zoe, I know I can understand that it must be really emotional, so we've given him a call, and he wants absolutely nothing to do with your love.
He actually didn't really know who you were, to be honest. So that was a bit unusual. I've also had a letter from Michael, who said that he is currently having an affair with his best friend's sister, mum, auntie, cousin, and niece.
Hold on a minute, I think you've read that wrong. It's actually the same person.
Oh, sorry, Michael from Norfolk. Sorry about that. Sorry, yes, I understand now.
We also had a voice message, actually, on our answer phone from a Tourette's sufferer. If you leave us a message like that again, we'll be phoning the police. Very rude, swore all the way through it.
We're not going to answer queries like that, to be honest, okay? We're two nice people who are trying to do our best for various folk. Like this next person, this is Matthew, who is a fisherman from Lancaster. He wrote to us saying that he had been a fisherman all his life and went out into the North Sea and collected as much fish as possible, and he wanted a career change. We've asked him what his skills are, and he says that all he ever does and all he's good at is picking things up out of a net and using those products. So we've advised that if he's good at picking things out of the nets, then he should become the England goalkeeper.
Excellent idea. We've also had a gentleman called Wayne, haven't we, get in touch from Manchester. He's very concerned at the moment. He's wanting to change his job, isn't he?
Change his lifestyle as well as his job.
With the sound of it, yeah. He just wants a complete change. He wants to move location and everything. He's currently working for Manchester United, apparently.
Yep, absolutely. And he wants to move to somewhere called Manchester City.
So, yeah, that's from Wayne.
So all the best, Wayne. Hope you can change your life around there.
Yeah, that one's from Wayne in Manchester.
Yes.
And then, of course, we had Nigella Lawson's husband call up.
Absolutely.
Who was asking us, wasn't he? What was he asking about?
He was asking about how best to deal with Nigella Lawson's neck.
Yeah, so thank you very much for ringing. Calling us.
Yeah, for ringing in, yeah. Not for when we say ringing, obviously. So all we'd say, Charles, is just get a grip.
And finally, we've had an extremely nice letter from a girl called Katie, aka Jordan, it says, who was extremely concerned about a huge nasty gash.
She sends us oh my god, look at that! I've never seen one like that.
Just above her left knee.
Well, that's
apparently.
above and below her left knee, isn't it? One story that has been in the news this week has been the row that has erupted between the Church of England and payday loan company Wonga.com, where it has effectively been said by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, that Wonga.com don't offer a good deal for customers.
Right, yeah, I've actually seen this story myself. I was 2,400% interested in it.
Yeah, that is an acceptable amount of interest to have, apparently. But the whole battle is a bit of a David versus Goliath battle, albeit we're not really sure which is which, are we?
No, not really. But the whole thing with payday loan companies, anyway, I just can't get my head round. If there's one day I don't need a loan, it's on payday.
Well, that's the entire point of it, isn't it? I mean, if your company was called a non-payday loan company, think how much interest you could charge when people needed the money.
Perhaps we should set up a company that offers loans when it's not payday.
Yeah, the waste of web space, non-payday loan company, that's the best one to have. That's what we should do. Forget doing the advertising and try and make money, that's how we should branch out in doing. But it is amazing, isn't it? Because the Archbishop of Canterbury, he said that that Wonga.com wasn't offering a good service to people. It was trying to make money out of people incorrectly and in a profiteering way. And that's the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, who used to work for a French oil company during the 1980s.
Yeah, it's a bit hypocritical, really, isn't it?
Just a bit. He used to work for Elf, who I think became Total, so which is a bit of a total mess for him. And then the other thing that he said was that he wanted to knock out Wonga. This is how the whole row really erupted and ended up with him having egg on his face. He wanted to knock out Wonga in a business sense and take them out from the high street by setting up his own firm of credit unions. He didn't want to change the law or anything like that. He wanted to offer Christian credit unions which offer good deals to people, albeit sort of still about 30% APR, so a lot more than a high street lender would offer. And then it turned out that the Church of England Pension Fund had actually invested in a company that helped to set up Wonga.com.
Right, I mean, I've lent from the church before, though.
You've lent from the church?
Yeah, when I walk out and they're doing the donations, I just take some.
Well, that's very good of them, I suppose, to help offer you money. I once looked in the bucket at the back that said for the sick, and one person I think had got quite confused as to what exactly it was meant to be.
Oh, right, dear. But
the row has sort of got a little bit deeper in terms of the Newcastle United football player Papis Cisse.
Yeah. He's had a bit of he's not been happy with his shirt, has he? Because they're being sponsored by Wonga, he thinks that it's not suitable, is it? Because they do rip people off, basically, and that is his opinion, and he doesn't agree that it's moral. So I think he kind of turned the chant round on itself and he started singing, "That shirt's not fit for me to wear, that shirt's not fit for me to wear." Yeah,
it was basically the only person actually singing that. And he was complaining about the Newcastle United shirt and the Wonga.com logo on there. They wanted to be... Well, he basically said that he doesn't agree with the fact that they were sponsored by an irresponsible lender. That's Newcastle United, whose former sponsor used to be... Northern Rock.
Yeah, and Papis Cisse obviously said that just after getting back from the bank and cashing his paycheck, of course.
Yes.
And then after that, where did he get caught?
He got caught in the casino, albeit I think it was last year, so someone basically must have taken a photo of him. I think it was last November he was caught, and must have just saved it and think, I'll tell you what, there must be some time I can cash this in, well, an appropriate phrase, and dob Papis Cisse for what he's done.
Well, there you go.
Incredible in a row that's erupted over a Newcastle United shirt, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose it's hardly a black and white issue, though. It's time for the news roundup now, and one thing that's caught my eye in the last few days is Theresa May, and by that I mean a news story about her and not actually Theresa May. She has been diagnosed as being diabetic.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it? I mean, I know when she first found out about it, she rushed into the House of Lords and asked for sugar, to which Lord Alan Sugar came out. It caused quite a lot of confusion.
Well, yes, he may be a lord, but he's not a qualified medical practitioner, so wasn't able to assist at all. Sugar then felt the heat and said he was under a lot of pressure, at which point he called Lord Caramel.
Yeah, because obviously they don't want to get that confusion happening in the future, do they, I suppose?
No, so as I say, Theresa May, though, to be fair, has said that it won't it won't affect the way that she does her job, and she will continue to be a useless Home Secretary.
I mean, you know, I once dated a girl with diabetes, to be honest with you.
How did it go?
She weren't my type.
Well, never mind. I suppose that's one of those things that happens. One interesting story about involving another well-known woman was that J.K. Rowling has written a novel under a pen name. And by pen name, I don't mean J.K. Rowling, although I suppose we can't, technically speaking, be sure that the original books she wrote about Harry Potter were actually written by J.K. Rowling, as in that's her actual name.
Yeah.
But she wrote a name under the pseudonym Robert something or other. And
She did, yeah.
And it's now time to reveal... Well, it was basically said that by releasing the book under the name Robert, whatever it was, and then been revealed that J.K. Rowling actually wrote the book, that it sold a lot more copies.
Right.
So it's time to reveal that, in fact, I don't have Jimbo sat next to me during this podcast.
Oh,
I actually have J.K. Rowling here.
I've been rumbled. Can't believe it.
I know. It's magic.
So follow us on Twitter. Buy our free podcast.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Buy our free podcast. We will make far more money, and our Twitter followers will go up from 15 to maybe even about 20.
Something like that. But it brings up a question of trust, doesn't it? I mean, can we be sure that J.K. Rowling is J.K. Rowling now? And I mean, next we'll be finding out that Harry Potter's not actually real. He's not actually a real person, and magic doesn't exist. Or
that J.K. doesn't sort of also double up as being the lead singer of Jamiroquai or something like that. Who knows?
Cosmic.
Yes, unbelievable. But also one bit of sports news for you now is that England are currently 2-0 up in the Ashes series, and as people will know, I'm a massive
I'm just going to step out a second, okay?
Okay, it's time for the cricket talk section anyway, and...
the best bit about the Ashes for me... Yorkshire batsman
Joe Root scoring 180, and for years he's been known as one of the finest darts players around, but he also batted quite well, so that was good. And anyway, Jimbo, I've finished my cricket bit. You're gonna leave it all in on all 6 minutes.
Well, I was bowled over by that, so I'll potentially maybe leave it in.
Okay, thank you very much. What, all 7 minutes of it?
I don't know about that.
But we've found some good statistics as well.
Yeah, apparently half of British UK men have had sex in a car, which, to be honest, I don't think that can be true, because there's two of us here. I certainly haven't had sex in a car. In my car.
Well, I've had sex in your car.
In my car?
Yeah.
Was that you?
Yeah.
So, in effect, we've actually beaten the statistics.
Well, yeah, I think we've confounded it, so it's 100% of people on this podcast have had sex in your car. It was me and J.K. Rowling.
Right.
I'll say another interesting news story that we found out was that there was a penis competition a penis size competition in Brooklyn in New York, and it was won by a gentleman who had the smallest penis around, and he said that size doesn't matter, which is very interesting, because we're off the fact that he had a very small penis, and that was the size of his penis, then he wouldn't have won this award.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising he actually won, because he actually thought he'd flopped in the competition.
Yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for all the people who are knocked out in the semis. But I say, so
he did say that he was quite excited about winning the competition, even though he couldn't tell.
But it's a very interesting story, so good on him, well done.
I mean, at least he can now stand proud amongst his peers.
Another story that we heard was that 62% of women apparently check their phones during sex.
Well, they're just checking it's not on it's on vibrate, I suppose, aren't they? They don't need to switch off in the middle of it.
I suppose so. Perhaps, who knows, they might be call girls.
Exactly, yeah. And finally, 95.1% of people don't know where pasta comes from in Britain. So 95.1% of British people don't know where pasta comes from.
I mean, that is unbelievable. How do people not know that it comes from a supermarket?
It's shocking. I don't know. But, I mean, the other 4.9%, of course, don't even know the British. And that's all we've got time for here for the Waste of Web Space podcast episode 7. I'm off now to go and enter the largest penis competition.
Honestly, stop being big-headed.
Well, I can't help it, that's why I'm entering it.
Oh yeah, good point. So should fight for all its girth. Always worth. Keep going in the competition. Hope it goes well. We'll be back soon in a few weeks' time with another podcast, hopefully.
And don't forget you can follow us at Waste of Web Space on Twitter. Try and take our total up above 15 followers, possibly. That
would be greatly appreciated. You can go on our website, www.wasteofwebspace.co.uk.
That is correct.
Or you can go on wasteofwebspace or www.wasteofwebspace.com and abuse the person who's got the .com web address.
Yeah, because we want that.
Yeah, so how can be a better Waste of Web Space than the UK-based one?
Exactly.
So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again in a few weeks' time. Thank
Thanks.
you. Goodbye. Jimbo, I think you have to do some editing here because I think there's been far too many mentions of penises during this podcast.
Do you think so?
Yeah, what was that?
Oh, that's just the bell end.